Welcome, everyone. I am Planet Mitch, for those of you who don't know me. Who's that? I mean, doesn't the entire planet of Earth know me by now? No, they don't. And I got lots of stories about that, but I'm not going to go into those stories because that would take up the whole thing. We are going to run through my very first try at doing an upViral quick start. Let me rephrase that. Let me start that over. I didn't want to say the word upViral in front because this could be done for any campaign, any tool. So I called it Contest Quick Start when I published it, not upViral. The first question that came in before we started was, what's your favorite tool? And could I do this with Vyper? The answer is yes. You can use just about any of the tools. We're going to cover a lot of that material in here. And what I'm going to do is start the slides. Why not we just dive in? I'm going to do screen sharing. So we're using Zoom, by the way. This is my first time using Zoom in this kind of format. And I have a separate laptop over here on the side so I can see what's going on. Hopefully I can see that everything's working properly. I love this GIF. I found this actually on a contest. And I don't know why, but I'm trying to resize the screen on the laptop so that I could see the chat, but that's not working. So let me make sure I have the chat up, because if somebody wants to ask a question. So let me just say, the process for those of you who are here, if you want to ask a question, just go ahead and unmute yourself. I am trying to get the chat. There's the chat in that screen. I apologize. This, with Zoom, you have to kind of do things after you get started. So let me move that out of the way in the group chat up there. All right. So anyway, this I love this GIF, whichever way you like to say it, makes me smile. It just cracks me up. And when I saw it on a campaign, I thought that was perfect. For everybody who's just joining, thank you for coming in. We are going to go through these things. Now, I know many of you want to just dive right in to the tool, whichever tool you happen to like. The question before we started even was, hey, do I need to have upViral? Do I need to have an account? Are we going to go through that? And the quick answer is, frankly, no. What we're going to do is we're going to cover the what and the why before we get to the how. And what happens in most of the tools that you look at is that they will tell you that you can create a campaign in 5 minutes. You can create a contest in 10 minutes. You can create a contest in 30 minutes or less. And that most of the tools, I will say that's typically true. If you know what the heck you're doing, you can create a contest inside the tool in a short period of time. I don't know if you can necessarily do it in 5 minutes. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But the intent, I think, is to do it right. In order to do it right, we have to go through the what and the why. Now, part of the issue also is that I know that many of you don't run contests now, and you don't even know really kind of what they are and how they work. So in order to set up a level playing field, I want to go through the what and the why before we get to the how. Now, we're in Zoom. For those of you who are watching live, you can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can ask it in the chat room. But we are going to get to a run-through of building a quick campaign inside of upViral. But that's going to be a little bit later on. But I don't want you to just disappear and then come back because I just said, oh, well, he's not going to cover actually building the tool. I want you to understand the why part first. And that's the part that most of the tools don't get you to. I know there are some training bits inside of upViral. I know the Vyper crew does a great job of providing some really cool training. But most people don't watch that part. So what I want you to do is to understand the why part first. Because if you do that, then your campaigns are going to be so much better. So is that okay? Are you guys okay with me even showing you a little bit about giveawayRocket, which is my home site? We'll postpone that to the end. JT says, the why is huge. Absolutely. Thank you, JT. I agree with that 1,000%, which is why we're going to go through this way. And by the way, I discovered this is a keynote presentation. And if I were to click play, then I can't see what anybody else is saying or whatever else is going on. So I'm going through this the manual way. So you get to see the junk up at the top, but my slides are over here on another screen. Now, in terms of this process, if you're just starting your first campaign, what I want you to do is to keep it simple. And we're going to keep it simple when we build a campaign at the end of this. If you're just starting out, please, 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 unless you're in one of my training programs, which is much more in-depth than this, keep it simple. Don't try to throw in a bunch of bells and whistles, because what you're going to do is end up failing. Now, if you were to start doing Facebook ads, you're going to start out simple. You're not going to jump in and be an expert on the very first one. What I want you to do is to create a contest, do it simply, get it out of the way. That makes it sound like it's not going to be good. It could potentially be very good. But I think the learning process will get you to understand many things going forwards. And if you try to throw in all the bells and whistles, like I've seen some people do, you get wrapped around an axle and you get lost. So let's start simple. What we're also not going to do is to cover a whole bunch of other stuff, like how do you get traffic? How do you do Facebook advertising? And frankly, we only have 2 hours, so I don't have the time to teach you every trick that I know. And besides, if I did that and gave it away for free, then that wouldn't feed my family and they would be kind of upset. Now, one last caveat. And I know this is a very good trick or process inside of webinars these days, but I really, truly, honestly want you to understand that if you do not already have a business that is making sales, that you understand what your customer is, what they want, what you want to sell to them, then don't try this. Do not try this at home. Go away, stop sharing, stop watching the recording, go back and figure out what your business is and what you're trying to offer, because until you have that, trying to build your list, trying to run a contest is just going to shut you down and it's not going to do you any good. I know that you want to build your audience. You want to be able to get yourself up and running and moving when you figure things out. Pardon me. But I can't tell you how many people that I have started to help build a contest and they don't even know what their business is yet. Please, just take a step back, figure that stuff out, and then build your list. All right, so if there aren't any questions, and again, please raise your hand or comment in the chat room if you have a question, but we're going to dive into the what and the why first. JT says, super smart. It might sound harsh, but Mitch is right. Blasting traffic to an offer that isn't converting is futile. Thank you, JT. I'll pay you for your comments later, all right? The check is in the mail. I like to have fun. I am not a strict do it by the books kind of guy. I enjoy entertaining. I enjoy helping people. All right, so let's start with the very first thing so that we're all on a level playing field. What is the right word? Are we using contest, sweepstakes, giveaway? There are a lot of different interpretations of the words. And I am not talking about a giveaway where everyone gets something. All right. That is a common definition of the word giveaway. I also know people that call that a lead magnet. So I actually was just watching a how-to the other day on how to do a giveaway. And it turns out what they were doing was building a lead magnet that everybody was going to get. So a lead magnet, again, being something that you offer, something of value in order to get somebody's email address. I mean, that's kind of a definition of a giveaway the way we do it, or a contest, but that's not what we're going for, typically. That's an advanced topic to begin with. And I can't see everybody's faces, by the way, or whatever, or, you know, so if you're trying to wave your hand at me, start off in the chat or unmute yourself. So there's also in the United States, a legal definition of a contest means something that is judged, like a photo contest, which is the best X, Y, or Z, or who has the best dance. Typically, there's a judge involved in a contest. Now, in the rest of the world, what I have learned is the word contest means a sweepstakes, a random draw, or a most points wins campaign. So what I want to do is kind of use this, and I haven't totally defined this phrase as the perfect phrase, but we're basically talking about a marketing campaign where a small number of prizes are awarded to a small number of winners who are selected randomly or by most points. And that's kind of what we're talking about. For example, I want to make sure this is playing right. Yes. So this is a video I found of a contest where they're offering multiple prizes, right? With these things, there's the value. This is the kind of stuff that people typically see. Or there's this one. I love this one. Saw one of these recently in the mall. And so you go to the mall and there's a pretty car and they want you to win this car. Car not included according to this campaign. I'm not sure they ever give those away. I would never enter one of those because typically if you read the fine print, they don't draw the winner for the prize until like a year and a half, 2 years from now. So don't do those things. Now, interestingly enough, I went to, my cat's over here jumping up and down and stuff, went to a convention not too long ago. And on the left, you see this photo where they were giving away a truck. You can't see the truck, kind of see it sort of in the background. But in order to register for the truck, you had to fill out some information on the iPad and give up your what? Email address. And technically, you had to put in your delivery address so they could send you some hard copy mail. The reason I'm showing you this is they're giving away a truck. This was Dodge Ram. Was giving away a $40,000 truck, so they say. But they were giving away T-shirts if you signed up. Now, typically, we don't give everybody something for signing up in the kind of contests that we do. But I wanted to show you this because the value that Dodge Ram is putting on giving up your information, they're willing to give you a T-shirt. Now, okay, the T-shirt probably only cost them in bulk $2. I don't know, $1.50, $2. But they're also paying for the rental of the booth, and I was told that the booth about that size was about $70,000, and the time of the people. So in order for you to get attention for their trucks, they're willing to spend big bucks. So there is a lot of value in getting that data from you, right? Please, cat, don't tear that up while you're over there. Now, there was also this other contest for a camera. And the thing that I want you to realize about those, and this, the way the contest used to be was that you put your name in a fishbowl. If I go back to this, the one over here had a box for you to put your address in, right? In those particular situations, in a fishbowl scenario, the only people you attracted were the people right in front of you that you could possibly get attention to. And we want to change the way that's done. Suddenly, I can't go forwards. Now, I know many of you have run contests before. And in the chat, if you want to tell us how well those worked. I know some people have really good luck when they run a campaign, and some people kind of struggle, and that's okay, especially on the first one or two. What hopefully you're going to do is learn that there are better ways of doing things. In the old-fashioned way, like I mentioned, the only people you got the names for were people who put their name in the fishbowl. Those people are direct. Those people are the ones, unless they go tell their friend, say, hey, come over here, you could get a t-shirt and win a truck. There was no word of mouth. There typically is no word of mouth in the old way of doing things. And even in the new way of doing things, we want to encourage people to spread the word. But if you didn't have success in a previous campaign, the other thing you didn't do was plan. What typically, especially the campaign tools tell you to do is to create your campaign in 30 minutes or less. And I say, if you spend 30 minutes or less building your campaign, you're doing it the wrong way. So what's different about today than the past? Referrals, it's sitting right in front of your face. Referrals. So what we want to do is to get the person who enters the campaign that you're offering to bring their friends along. And we're going to talk about this a little bit here, but I want you to understand that the concept here is that we want to grow our audience by taking people who already understand what we're offering because they're entering the contest, and they're bringing their friends in. Now, there's a question that I ask people all the time, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to respond. But the question is, what is the number one reason people don't tell their friends about a contest? So if they see that you're giving away a car or a truck or a $5,000 camera, why don't they go tell their friends? And some of you heard me ask this question, so go ahead and answer if you want in the chat. But what's the number one reason people do not recommend their friends? Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody heard me say this? Team DeVries, because they want to win the car. They don't want their friend to win. Perfect answer. Where's my bell? It's over here. JT says lack of trust, which is a great answer, JT, but it's not the one I was looking for. And trust is a major factor in campaigns that I spend a lot of time teaching people. David says they don't want to decrease their chances of winning. Absolutely correct. Dan Lowe says they want to pull the blanket to themselves. Yes, exactly. Now, that's the thing that we have to get over. But why do we want to get over that? Number one, we want to grow our audience. And technically, most of those people that get referred are free leads to us. They don't typically cost us a lot. Now, maybe the value of the prize, but we haven't really talked about values of the prize yet, but you can offer something relatively inexpensive and get people to sign up. And if you can get them to refer people, then there's a lot of benefits to that. Number one is that you're growing your audience for basically no cost. Now, let's look at a couple of statistics. Why do you want to go after referrals? Why don't you want to just go after people that are willing to put their name in the fishbowl? Well, according to the Wharton School of Business, the average lifetime value of a referred customer is 26% more than a customer that comes in by normal marketing means. So, what does that mean? You're right, cash. 26%. So if a customer comes to you and spends 26% more money, hello, don't you want that? Of course you do. And why is that? That's because of the referral factor. And if you think about it, if you go to Amazon to see a product that you may not be familiar with, what's one of the first things you do? You scroll down to the bottom and you look at what everybody else has had to say. Now, even those people are people you don't know, but you're trusting that they're being accurate in what they have to say. But by looking at what they have to say, you are more willing to spend money. And so Amazon highlights all of those reviews, even though at the bottom of the page, they want you to go, I mean, there's stars at the top. How many reviews? How many people have said, yes, this is great? The referral has a lot of weight. It brings along some authority because Betty Lou, your neighbor, says, I approve of this, and therefore it has more value. And people are more likely to spend money. Another study, 94% of consumers trust recommendations from their friends above all other forms of advertising. I'm hoping this rings some bells for you guys because this stuff is golden. And this is one of the reasons why I get so excited about contests is because most people, and this is why I'm telling you this again, if you have heard this before, I'm sorry, but this is reinforcing. And if you haven't heard this, maybe there's bells going off that says, oh my stars, I did not understand the power of getting people to refer other people. And that's one of the things that we're doing in our contests. Is we're trying to get those referrals. This is where the gold of contests is. 82% of slow down, Mitch. I get too excited. I get wound up. 82% of consumers are more likely to buy a new product when learning about it from friends or family. Basically, I'm telling you that referrals work. Now, our goal when we set up our contest, and I pause because I keep thinking to myself, well, I've told you to be simple, and I don't want you to get into a whole bunch of bells and whistles on your first campaign, but I want you to focus on this is still true. We want not only the direct people to come in, but we want to encourage people to share and refer their friends. And we can do that by building trust. And we can offer some basic incentives, not all the bells and whistles on our first campaign, but we can offer some basic incentives for them to refer their friends. And that's the first thing that I really want you to think about. Now, I said before we were going to do some who, what, where, why, and how stuff. So here's the why. Now, we've already been talking about some of the why, but specifically in terms of contests, there's a myth. The myth is people who enter contests are only in it for the freebies. I've heard this a bazillion times. So many times I have to address it. Contest leads don't buy. If you go searching the web, you will find article after article after article that tells you contest leads don't buy. So let me give you an example. Now, this is kind of a radical example, and don't expect you to do this on your very first campaign. But this is a campaign that I helped on. It's also a campaign that upViral uses as a case study. DeVry's question, what is considered a good referral rate? Oh, man, you want to jump right in there, don't you? In the world of marketing, a good referral rate is probably 1 or 2%. Technically, if you can get people to sign up for your campaign and marketing, getting 5% signups is probably good. 10% is insanely good. So getting people to refer other people is pretty low. I don't know the actual facts on that, but I mean, if you think of your bank, I mean, if they said, hey, well, you refer somebody, what are they going to do? Give you a toaster, right? You remember that? Or you get a toaster if you sign up. I mean, they try to get you in to do things. It's a great question, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time answering that. In contests, the ones that we're doing, because upViral and other tools give you the stats, and I'll tell you mine, but I don't say that mine is average, but my average is somewhere around 33% conversion rate. In terms of referrals, I mean, that's conversion rate of people who are referred to the campaign. In terms of the number of people who actually refer other people and get them to sign up, we're talking about between 5 and 10% of the people actually get somebody to sign up. Hopefully that is clear as mud. So here's the example. David Frazier has a company that is called Bunky Life. Now he has, according to this post, launched his business by running 2 contests. He ran one in 2018. He ran one this year, which I helped on, in February 2019. He credits running those 2 contests with launching his business. Now, I'm not advising you do this because what did he do? He gave away a $6,000 log cabin kit that they call a bunkie. I don't advise your first contest to be a $6,000 prize. But David went all in, baby. He went to town. And this worked fairly well. Now, here's the results. In the 2019 campaign, they brought in 34,000 leads. They had $300,000 in sales. They got approximately 2,000 participants to answer a survey, which gave them data about what their people were looking for. And they got 2,500 Instagram followers and more. Now, by the way, speaking of conversion rates, I have a discussion in the upViral group a couple of weeks ago or last week with somebody who said, well, if you figure out the $300,000 in sales, which happened in a 3-day event after the campaign was over, David did a sale and said, okay, if you entered the contest and you want to buy something, I'll give you $1,000 off. So he did a sale, a discount for 3 days, and that's where he got the $300,000 in sales. Now, if you figure that out, that's about 75 people who bought. And the discussion I had with somebody in the upViral group was, well, that's only a 0.2% conversion rate to sales. And so the discussion was very interesting. I really thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And yes, in terms of conversion to sales, that's a pretty bad number. But David's very happy with his results. He got $300,000 in sales. I don't know what his profit margin is, so I can't tell you how much profit he made on that. But I think most people would say, oh, I made $300,000 in sales immediately after my contest. They'd be pretty freaking excited. So if you look purely at numbers in the 0.2% conversion to sales. Now, the other side of that is that we're not here to talk about sales. All right, we do. Obviously, every business wants to end up resulting in sales. That's how they survive, right? Your ultimate goal, regardless of what kind of thing we're talking about, I mean, ClickFunnels or Facebook ads, the ultimate goal is to make sales. But a ClickFunnels funnel isn't by default going to increase your sales. It's going to increase your marketing and blah, blah, blah. It's not the tool, it's the process, right? And so what we're talking about in terms of running a contest is not trying to get sales. That's our ultimate goal. But the main intent of a contest is to grow your email list. Now, there's also we were talking about the myth, contest leads don't buy. If contestants don't buy, then why does McDonald's Monopoly game work that they've been doing for like 40 freaking years? They're incentivizing their people to come in and to play a game. Now, some of it's contests, some of it's rewards, and I mean, there's a mixture of a whole bunch of different kinds of processes. But I just picked this out as an example because people say, well, contests don't cause people to buy. Well, there's a whole lot of people doing contests. I go back to the Dodge Ram example. They're doing a contest to give away a truck. If contests don't bring in buyers, then why on God's green earth are so many contests out there by so many big companies and little companies? Now, again, we're focusing not on sales. I mean, I'm constantly asked this question too. Well, if I run a contest, how many sales am I going to get? I can't tell you that. That depends on so many different factors. And again, the contest is meant to get you leads. Once you have good leads, and we're going to talk about how to get really good, high quality leads here in a minute, we don't want freebie seekers. We don't want people that just want to win something. We want people that are interested in buying what we have to sell eventually. So there's two parts of the process. First is lead generation. Get people in the door. Then you're going to do pardon me. You're going to do email nurturing and marketing to them to convert them to sales. We're going to talk about that. And I know we still haven't gotten to the dang building of the contest yet. Have patience, because if you're not understanding the start, we're not going to get to why. We're not going to understand why you're doing this in the first place. Okay? 2 seconds for another sip of water. I'm running out of spit. Now, here's one that means a lot to me. AppSumo, who has a tool called KingSumo, which is a contest tool, did a study, and I can give you the link, and I don't have the link in the end of this. I should, but I don't, so I'll think about putting that in there if I can remember. Somebody will remind me later. I have the link. I'll put it on. I could put it in the chat, I think, but they did a study because they have a tool that does contests in 2017, and they studied the people that came in through contests, and they studied the people who came in through normal marketing, and the leads that they got from contests brought a 55% higher lifetime value than their traditional marketing. Not everybody is going to buy. Not every lead that you generate through traditional marketing is going to buy. But AppSumo studied it and found that contestants bought more stuff. All right. If anybody has any questions about this, let me know. The next myth, email is dead. I love this. Email is dead, right? HubSpot, who does a whole lot of marketing research, says 59% of marketers say email has the highest return on investment. This is very recent data. This is not decades old stuff. The effectiveness of various types of marketing, email came out on top with an ROI of 41-1. I've also seen this one, 40 times as many purchases came from links and emails than Facebook or Twitter, according to Castora. I've seen this multiple different ways. This is so many people tell me that email is dead, when in reality what you're doing is just ignoring the facts. And these aren't fake stats or anything. These are the facts. People who know how to nurture their email list are making money on their email list. To this day, email still outperforms our other channels. This is in the wrong place. Well, okay. This isn't where I thought I was going. But that's what happens when you put together slides right before the presentation. The intent of this is that you've got to be building your email list. And when we run a contest, we want the offer to be so good that everybody wants to talk about it. All right, so this is a true confession time. I'm not so good at nurturing my email list, and I'm working on that. I have lots of people on my email list, and they don't buy from me. And so I'm working on my email list. But there's why people struggle is that they typically don't know how to nurture their list. And I'm not here to teach you how to nurture your list. But if we're going to build a list, we have to know how to sell to the list. And what we want on the list is people that are buying, are potential buying. All right, let's jump ahead and skip those slides that I didn't really think fit. Now, what is the value of a targeted lead? I know people have heard this before, potentially. The marketing industry uses this number, and I have seen it in many, many places, and I've talked to many, many people, including the young lady who is teaching my email list marketing or nurturing course. I specifically asked her, I said, the marketing industry says that an email list should generate $1 per lead per month in terms of revenue. And she said, that's a low number for my list. She said, I won't tell you what the number is, but it's way higher than $1 per lead. I've talked to many people who say that number is low. Obviously, for my list, that number is currently about 0, which is really, really saddening me. Saddening. That's not a good word, is it? But if you think about, if you added 1,000 leads to your email list, and you are nurturing them and getting about $1 per lead per month, that's $12,000 in additional revenue that you didn't have before. Who doesn't want an additional $12,000? And so why aren't we building our list? Most of us aren't. If you're using Facebook ads, typically it will cost you between $3 and $20 some odd dollars to get a lead. This isn't just people liking your page, which you can get sometimes at pennies on the dollar. We're talking about lead conversion. Typically, it's somewhere between $3 and $20, averaging probably $5 to $6, depending upon which person you listen to. So that's what it costs to get one of those people. Now, if you can get a lead for $3, and that brings you $12 through the next year, if you do the proper nurturing, then it's worth it, right? Why not just go get Facebook leads? Typically, what I'm seeing in a contest lead is between 10 cents and 99 cents. And I gave myself a pretty big range. My average is about 35, 40 cents per lead. And that's throwing in the cost of the prizes, cost of running the campaign, et cetera, et cetera. It could include Facebook ads. So why not go after leads that are less expensive, especially if you can make them leads that convert? Because again, we don't want just to go viral or anything else. So let me give you another example. And often we talk about contests, and the marketing people will tell you can bring in tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of leads. We don't typically want those people, frankly. What we want is targeted leads. So I had Heike, is the name of the young lady that runs this website. It's about horses. It's called Horse World Connect. And she came to me and she said, well, I want to give away an Amazon gift card for $200 because I know my people, I've studied my people, and they all shop on Amazon. I said, don't do that. Please, please, please don't give away an Amazon gift card, because I would enter that contest because I want to buy groceries and diapers and Christmas toys for my kids. I don't care about your horses. She said, okay, I hear you, but everybody says I should give away a nice prize that's very attractive. I said, yes, an Amazon gift card is certainly attractive. But what we're talking about is we want to build a list. We don't want it to be viral. We don't care if we get 10,000 people on our list if they never turn into potential buyers, right? So I said, Heike, let's do it differently. Let's offer, and this was actually her idea. She said, well, let's offer a gift card for $200 to your local tack and feed shop. It says right here, your favorite tack and feed shop or feed store. Now we're talking. So down here on the form, and I put in Mitch's Horsey Store, but on the form it says, enter your favorite tack and feed shop before I put in my data. If you were somebody who came to this campaign and you don't care about horses, you're not going to enter. And everybody screams, but that will reduce the number of people that come into my contest. Mitch, why on God's green earth would I do that?
Danger, danger.
We don't want people coming on our list that are not interested in what we have to offer. We specifically want targeted people. Now, Heike, in this very first contest that she did last Valentine's Day, that ended on Valentine's Day, brought in 610 leads. Okay, everybody, I can hear the silence out there going, well, that's not very exciting. 610 leads, good golly, that's not very much. But if you value them at $1 per lead per month, that's some significant change. And let's not forget that you can run a contest every month if you want. You can run a contest every 2 weeks if you want. She ran their contest for 3 weeks, brought in 600 leads, and she was very happy. The reason she was happy, because she has advertisers on her website, and she told them that if I won't charge you until I have 500 members in my membership, and they're free, but I won't charge you until I had 500. So after 3 weeks, she is struggling to get leads. We found her targeted leads, people who are very interested in horses, because we knew that other people wouldn't enter. And as a bonus,
oh boy,
a bonus, yes, Victoria, that's my daughter. She got a list of tack and feed shops in the United States that she could go send a message and say, hey, I have a website where I'm targeting horse owners, and I know they're targeted people, blah, 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 blah. So she did a double bonus. She got targeted leads. She got a list of stores. Now they're, doesn't have an address and a phone number, but she'd go look them up. JT says 600 targeted leads. I'll take them with a big fat smile. Thank you, JT. Absolutely. And when you're thinking about your business, it's not about the big numbers. It's about targeted leads, which is what we want. This contest worked very well. She has since added another 2,000 leads over the ensuing months, and she's doing fairly well with her business. She's not going gangbusters, but she's doing contests on a regular basis. If you go to horsewolfconnect.com, you can see them. And she's very happy with the results that she's getting, and so are the vendors that are paying her money to advertise on her website. They're not huge numbers. I want you to get out of the fact of the head that, I mean, I've seen the marketers tout, this guy added 100,000, this guy added 200,000 leads in 3 weeks. That's not what we're after. And maybe those people did do good targeting, and kudos to them for running the right campaign. I'm averaging over the close to 100 campaigns, I'm averaging about 3,700 leads every 2 weeks. Now, if I'm doing the right nurturing, but I'm doing those for clients, right? It's not just me. If you get targeted leads, then you should be able to convert that to cash. And these leads are coming in, and I've spent too much time already, but you don't have to go viral, all right, to be a massive success. I hope you got that out of that. We also, our first campaign doesn't have to be perfect. I did 2 campaigns with Tom, and Tom's taught me many things. I really like Tom. Here's the testimonial, but the key here was very pleased with the traffic and the viral coefficient, which is the referred leads over direct leads. So our previous attempt was 0.35, and so we didn't get as many referred leads as direct. But in the second campaign that we did, we had a viral coefficient, as he calls it, of 3.8. That means we got 3 referrals for every direct person that came into that campaign. I think that was a success. Again, whether he monetized it or not, that's a whole nother story. I'm not gonna, that's another testimonial. I think you get the idea. Now, we're on the how side. We're getting close to finally getting over to the tools, but so Tony asked the question, what was her sale conversion on the 600 leads? Tony, I'm going to slap you. Pow, pow, pow. Yes, we all want to know what the sale conversion, how much money she's made on those since then. I don't have those figures. I have not asked her that because our focus is on building the list. I've had this conversation with multiple people, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. It's an important conversation, don't get me wrong, but we have other things to talk about. Yes, we want sales. If you talk to somebody who spends $1,000 on somebody to build their website, so let's say you're going to go build a website or a web page or something, and somebody says, I'm going to charge you $1,000 for that. Do you ask that person who's building a website for you what the conversion rate in their experience is for the kind of page for sales? The answer is no. It's a question that's asked about contests that isn't asked about any other tool, is what I'm really trying to say. You don't go ask your web designer what the conversion rate to sales is going to be. You just know you have to build a website. You don't really, okay, you can go talk about Facebook ads. That's maybe a bad example. But you don't go talk to a ClickFunnels expert to say, what's my conversion rate going to be to sales when I build this funnel? It's not a number that you can, it's not about that tool or that process. It's about, that process may do sales. I know ClickFunnels will help you do sales. You can build sales pages with ClickFunnels, but it's not the tool that does it. It's what your process is. It's what your content is. JT says, this is why Mitch started. If your funnel doesn't convert, don't do a contest. Thank you, JT. So Tony, I'm not trying to put you off, and I hope you don't misunderstand that what we're talking about here is building a list. We all want to talk about sales. All of us want sales in the end result. but we're talking about building the list. The assumption is that you can convert those people after you have them. The whole point of running a campaign like this, like a marketing campaign, is to get people in the front door. If you think about a brick and mortar store, you want them to come in the front door, then you know how to convert them. We're talking about how to get people in the front door here. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, again, I talked about this. The myth is that you can create a contest in about 10 minutes. Here's some of the different tools that are out there. I know you've seen some of them. I put Gleam in the upper left corner because technically I think Gleam has the most people using it in terms of numbers. There's a tool called Perkzilla, which is kind of new on the market. I put them on here because they advertise that you can build a contest in 5 minutes. Yes, but Rafflecopter is good. Viral Loops, King Sumo, Vyper. We talked about Vyper a little bit earlier. All of these tools are great. You can start your contest process with Gleam or Rafflecopter or King Sumo. They're or Perkzilla, any of them. Vyper. I happen to like Vyper. I happen to like upViral because it has the most functions the other ones don't have. And that's my promo for that. I own Vyper. I own Perkzilla. I own Viral Loops. I now own King Sumo. I am not paying for Rafflecopter or Gleam because I haven't gotten a lifetime deal for it. But I've tested them, and they all do about the same basic stuff for creating a basic campaign, which is how I started this whole thing. You can use any of these to create a very good starter campaign, or 3 or 5 if you want. You don't have to use upViral. I happen to like upViral. All right. So I'm talking way too much. I was hoping to be done with this section by now, but I still think all this stuff is important. If you haven't done a contest, you need to know how the flow works. So it's a 2-step process. It looks very, I'm going to jump around a little bit. It looks like this. You have a lead page, and you have assuming somebody opts in, they become a lead, and then they are shown a sharing page. That sharing page is where we're trying to get them to bring in referrals for us. This is where the goal is, try to get these people to share. If they share with the viral loop, then that brings new people in to our lead page. We are sending in direct people through our traffic this way, but we're asking people to do the sharing side with this viral loop process. I'm going to jump back and give you a brief example. So here's a landing page, the one that I did for Tom, that converted so well. We did win a free business trip to Hawaii. Tropical free trip to Hawaii. But we made sure that we were targeting business people, airfare, oceanfront, blah, 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 and a deal-making event, $12,000 estimated value. We made sure that the people understood that this was a business event. You had to attend that specific event. We also put in their phone number. Now, if you talk to anybody, you'll know that adding extra fields reduces the number of people that will enter. And so Tom was insistent that he wanted a phone number, even though he knew the number of people that were going to enter was going to come down, because he wanted to do a live winner's draw. And so he wanted the phone number to be able to get a hold of those people. So that limited the number of people, but he was okay with that. So then you're asked to share that, and you get to a page which has sharing buttons over here and some information which gets you to hopefully share more, right? We're trying to break out of the I don't want anybody else to enter thing. So I'm not going to go through all these details. You can offer rewards that we've talked about a little bit, but we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail because those are kind of advanced things, and I don't want you necessarily doing those on your first campaign. All right. So there's 3 things in this process that you need to know. Number 1 is that when those leads come in, they get added to the tool. So this is the same starting diagram that we had before, but you can also add those leads in your autoresponder. And so you can have the leads coming into upViral, and you can have leads going to your autoresponder. Now, I specifically highlight this because there's 2 types of emails that can go out, and that's important to your campaign. Typical emails, and I show those over here, upViral emails or Vyper emails or whatever, those emails are transactional. Those are the emails that say, hey, thanks for entering. Hey, you've earned a prize. Hey, you've got X number of points. You should try to get more points, blah, blah, blah. Those things are very specific to the campaign. The autoresponder, and you see down here at the bottom, the autoresponder sequence, those are typically things like, hey, we're running a campaign. Have you entered? Hey, the campaign's ending in 3 days. Please make sure you share it. Hey, the campaign's over. How about buying our product, XYZ? We're having a sale, XYZ. Next week, we're going to have a sale. So all of those kind of emails come out of your autoresponder. So I really specifically wanted you to understand that there's 2 kinds of emails coming out of the system. Now, there's a whole bunch of different variations to that, but that's what the advanced class is for. Now, you can also do rewards, and the rewards come out based on how many points they get. If you do rewards, and again, I shouldn't show you this because I don't want you doing this part yet. This is really an advanced thing. But you're going to see in the example that we do rewards and we do custom actions. So custom actions, specifically, I mention these because there's a difference in custom actions, and most of the tools have these. So there's sharing, there's trying to get referrals, which happens over here, and there's custom actions, and the custom actions do nothing for your campaign in terms of getting people to refer others. Now, you can incentivize people to visit your website. You can incentivize them to join your membership. You can get them on your calendar. You can do all kinds of things. You can get them to like your page. You can get them to like your Instagram. But those things are building your social reputation or your business. I mean, you can even get them to go to your sales page and buy if you really want to, which may or may not be legal depending upon which country. Disclaimer. But those custom actions are not helping you build your audience. They are or they aren't, but they're not getting the referrals is what I'm really trying to say. And as I mentioned, there are a whole lot of different options. But we're not going to talk about that. And why that's replicated, I don't know. All right, so here's a typical Gleam example. And I wanted to bring this up because it has multiple things to talk about. Number 1, they're offering an Amazon gift card. Now, I said, don't do that. They did that. Notice the total number of entries. Gleam has this option of displaying to the people who are thinking about entering the campaign how many entries there are in a campaign. Now, don't be confused because entries does not equate to people, especially if you notice that if you refer a friend, you can earn 100,000 points. You can earn 100,000 chances to win if you get one friend to join. So don't be confused. I've seen people say, well, they got 300,000 people's emails. That's not true. If you add all these different things up, that comes out to maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people, depending upon how you add them up and how many people are participating. It looks like big numbers and you think people are entering, but they're not. And the second thing is, if you look down here, that this turns out to be a company called Freebie Depot. Now, maybe this is the right offer to get those people in, but I suspect that wasn't the greatest offer. Now, you must be attracting your avatar. And I go back to this example. Here's the finals, by the way. This ended, and if you put commas on this, this is 944 million entries. I had one person referred, so I got 110,000 entries. The offer, in this case, was very exciting to people because Amazon gift card is pretty sexy. I would be willing to bet money, I bet 50 bucks on this, that they never actually gave away that gift card. I bet you Jenna P never found out that she won that thing and never got her $50 gift card. I'd be willing to bet. I could be wrong, but it's all about the offer. Bradley, my good friend Bradley, I'm using a quote from him, but the offer is everything. The offer is everything. It must be so enticing that people are willing to crawl through broken glass. I love that quote. I did this little video. I didn't do the video, but, and that's not glass. Okay, I get it, but you get the idea. So it comes down to the offer. So many people get the offer wrong that their campaign doesn't work, and they blame the tool or they blame the giveaway, and it turns out that the offer was wrong. So I hope you're getting that point. Ryan says, it's like getting 100,000 likes and no sales. Exactly. Those things don't do you any good if you can't convert them to sales, which is what Tony was asking about before, which is why we go with targeted offers. The offer has to be targeted for your list. I have gone through this process with multiple clients, and most of them say, well, I've done contests before and they don't work. And the reason typically is that they offered an Amazon gift card and they got 100,000 people emails, quote unquote. And I'll give you another example. I know I'm running over already. I talked to a client and they ran a contest on their own. They got, according to him, and I didn't really press him on that, but he got over 100,000 entries. Now, I don't know if that was actually emails, you know, I don't know whether they use Gleam or whatever, but he was in the photography and video kit business. So he was selling gear to make your videos and photography better. And they ran a contest to send people to Iceland. Now, I know photographers absolutely drool over going to Iceland because the landscapes are phenomenal. They're gorgeous. My mom and pop would have entered that campaign. I would have entered that campaign. I know gobs of people that would have entered that campaign because I'd love to go on a trip to Iceland. There wasn't any requirement that you had to use some of their gear or go on a specific photography expedition or anything else. It was just a trip to Iceland. So if you don't bring in, and I have not gone back to them because they didn't hire me, but I didn't go back to them and say, well, how many sales did you get out of that? Because I suspect that they probably got no sales from those people, or very few, because they weren't the right targeting audience. And we could talk about this for days and days and days. And I do typically talk about it for days and days and days. So I want to get into, finally, eventually, going through upViral to build a campaign. And I know a lot of you came here for that. Tony, you got some great questions. Can the offer be directly your service or product or related to your service or product? Well, there's another $10,000 question, Tony. Thank you for asking it. It can be your product. It can be your service. It can be something related, but do not make it be totally unrelated to your business just to get large numbers. And like I said, I had a conversation with a young lady who was giving away vacations. And she says she knows how to nurture her list such that the people that bought that vacation are end up potentially buy her product. And if they're not, she's going to weed them out. So she specifically believes that she can convert those people regardless of who they are, as long as she gets them on their list, and she can then go nurture them and turn them into sales. More power to you, sister, brother, if you know how to do that. So then it's all about just numbers, getting a large number of people in. She's not offering that. Now, the second side of that, Tony, I have seen people who were selling a $497 program. They offered that as a giveaway. Guess what? Their leads came in, but their sales for the month they were running the giveaway went through the floor. They quit selling the product because that was their giveaway. People said, well, I'm just going to potentially win that, so I won't buy this month. Now, there are ways that you can get around that. There's all kinds of ideas, but that would be giving away all of my secrets. And I talk about those things, but typically you want to offer in that particular scenario something that is very similar or related to get the right audience, but not kill your sales in the process. Great question. Hopefully that helps. If not, let's talk about it. Going as a quick review, it's all about the offer. Now that involves the prize selection. And again, I didn't spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but you can offer a $49 prize, the $50 Amazon gift card. Thank you, Dan, for your comment. You can offer all kinds of inexpensive things. It does not have to be a $6,000 product like David did with the Bunkie. It has to be targeted. It has to be the right thing. And it may not be, when you first run your first campaign, you might discover that's not the right thing. I'll go back to Bradley. He does giveaways in the survival niche. They ran multiple campaigns offering multiple different prizes, and they finally found one that worked like gangbusters. And that was a $49 flashlight. But they went through multiple things that they thought about before they came up with the right offer. And since then, they just keep doing the same offer, and they keep growing their list, making more sales. So we talked a little bit about rewards. Not a whole lot, because that's really an advanced topic, and I don't want you to go through a whole lot of that. But there's also these custom actions, and I don't want you to do a whole lot of those on your first attempt either. So I'm briefly going to talk about giveawayRocket, which is my website. I'll just give you this one. So I have a class that is a $497 class called Win Together. And I will walk you through building your first campaign. And we spend the entire first week doing nothing but talking about prize selection, defining your offer, building the best offer possible before we ever get into actually building a campaign. But then once we have the offer down, we go in and we build your campaign and we actually execute your campaign. So many programs that you go through where you learn about how to do something and then you don't do it. That's not this. We actually do it. And I've had some people that get wrapped up in learning, but they don't do the doing part. And so what I'm going to do is if you come into the Win Together program, I want you to actually execute. This is the whole goal, is to get you to execute. And if you finish, if you run your contest, whether it's success or not, whether you get 5,000 leads or 200, if you finish running your campaign, I'll give you $100 back. Bingo. So I want you to execute. So I want you to have a reward, not only in having your campaign done, but I'm going to give you some money back from your offer. All right. Now, I promised you to get some links too, by the way. If you go to giveawayrocket.com/store, and I'm going to flip over here to upViral. So here's my website. You guys still see? Yes, yes. This is my website, giveawayrocket.com. If you click on resources, I have started building, and I started calling it a store, which is why this link is store for right now. But I've started adding a whole bunch of different things that you can come get. You can see my YouTube channel. You can use my affiliate link for upViral. You can rent my lists. I have some things, obviously, I don't have pictures for yet. If you're running a campaign, I can do a quick review for you. I also have a quick start upViral class, which goes into a whole lot more detail than what I'm going to do today, which is really inexpensive. I also have the page for the quick launch, which I just added. So I'm still adding things to this page, but this is the place you can come to see stuff. Like I talked about custom actions. I have a really big list of custom action ideas that you can get for just giving up your email address and getting on my list. So that's what's on the Giveaway Rocket site. And all of those things are here. And I don't, they actually dawned on me, if you want an affiliate, if you want to try Vyper, I can get you an affiliate link for that. I do get a commission, so it would help my family if you're going to go buy something. If you would buy it through me, it doesn't cost you extra to do that. All right, and so there's the Win Together programs also listed here. So let's dive in. Who's ready to finally jump into upViral? Hooray! Okay, my plan was that was going to take 45 minutes tops. It took me an hour and 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I'll try to get through that faster next time. Anybody have any other questions? And hopefully you're still getting value here. Thank you. Now, inside of upViral, again, it's my favorite tool. There's a whole bunch of settings. You can do almost all of these, especially the simple things with Vyper or Gleam. You do not have to use upViral, but upViral is my favorite tool because it has a whole bunch of things that the others don't have. One of them being a custom domain. I don't know that some of the other tools can do that. What I'm going to do is I have a campaign that I have built as a demonstration. And so some of the planning process that you will learn if you come to the Win Together program, or you've gotten the grasp of things here, there's things that you have to do before you can run a campaign. I can't just set up a brand new campaign without things like assets of images and body text for the landing page and the share page, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of side by side of where you have to go to do things and then what it looks like when you have it done. And this is a very simple campaign. What I'm going to do is I'll go to the lead page and I will show you one of the samples. Let's just do this one. And so this was actually a thing that my wife came up with, this idea, and I was going to give this away, which we never ended up doing, but it's very simple. There aren't any rewards or fancy things. It's just this concept. It's just this one item in this campaign. So I have text, I have this animated GIF that shows what the product is, how big it is, what it takes to put it together, because it comes as a kit, and off you go. So this is a very simple, basic first campaign. Now, how do we build that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in. If anybody has any questions, pop them in. I'm going to create a new campaign. So what I did, if you're in upViral, if you go to the dashboard or you just come up here to create campaign, we're going to go in and build a new one. So we're going to call it, we're just going to call it demo quick start. Create. Now, again, bingo bango, upViral sends you into this spot to begin with. I'm gonna go over here to, I have my passwords over here in Safari. So I'm gonna go quickly over to Gleam and show you, I've forgotten, I have a login. I think I have this way. Gleam is very different. If I go back over to here, Gleam has this basic look. There is no other look to Gleam. It is this top section with the offer of the prize, and then a bunch of things that you can do to earn points. That's it. There are a whole bunch of different ways of trying them. If I go do like a preview of Refer a Friend, I'm going to click. Oh, it looks very similar. You can put a picture here, you can put some text here, and some stuff down at the bottom. Right? If I go to Instagram, it isn't a fancy Instagram look and feel or anything. It looks the same. They all are very similar. Gleam is very popular because it's easy to just jump in, create a contest, even though they all look very similar. I got a kick out of the co-creator of Gleam said in an interview, he said, well, my partner and I, we designed the user interface on a napkin the day we decided to do this, and we haven't really changed it since. So it looks the way it looks. That's Gleam. I mean, I can jump over all of these things. They all look very similar. There isn't a whole lot of difference. They give you examples. They give you ideas down here at the bottom of what to put in, which is why Gleam is so popular. If we go back to upViral, often people stumble right here because this isn't like building a landing page. This isn't the first thing where you can walk through, like Gleam kind of walks you through some templates. They start you right here. We've had some discussions about them doing this differently, but often people are like, wait a minute, what's a reward and why am I starting here? If you're very experienced with upViral, it makes a lot of sense. Now, what we're doing is we're walking through these steps over here on the left. Vyper is kind of similar, although they've just implemented a new user interface, which has some differences. But basically, you're going to walk through some steps to build your campaign. Unfortunately, they start with rewards, and many newbies go, I don't get it. I'm lost already. You can do skip this step, or next step, set up sweepstakes, either one. But once you click one of those, then you see I cannot click on these other things. I can't jump around until I've been through the whole process. In our particular case, we could be doing a reward program, or we could be doing a sweepstake, or we could be doing both, which is one of the functions of upViral that I really like, because some of the other tools, you can only do a rewards program or you can only do a sweepstake. You can't do them both at the same time. But again, we're starting very simply. If you select this, Tony says it seems like upViral reverse engineered the process. They engineered the process as if you know what the heck you're doing inside the tool. And you have your plan. If you have your plan ready, starting with rewards and sweepstakes and points makes a lot of sense, because the lead page is not the main goal at the beginning. The idea is to build your campaign with incentives and then worry about the appearance. But most people haven't done the planning that I talk about doing. If you don't have the plan done, jumping in rewards is kind of off-putting right at the bat. Now, so if you select the sweepstake, if you turn this on, then you get to do manual or automatic. and I could spend 5 minutes talking about this, and I typically do. Do not do automatic. Just trust me. Unless you have done 5 or 10 campaigns, do not do automatic. Just don't. Select manual. If you want to pick a close date, pick the date that you're going to end the campaign and the time. And this is based on your local time zone, which you set up in the setup, which I haven't gone through. When you select a date and a time, it will close automatically, whether you have manual or not. Okay, this is only about selecting the winners. The close date is separate from this. The close date, if you have it set, will close on that date and time. You will not be allowed to enter more people. You can always turn it back on if you want, if you mess up, but I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to skip this step, or I'm going to do save and next because I did manual. Now, in my demo, I don't have, oh, I do have rewards. Forgot about that. So you can set up a reward. I had a reward if you get to 101 points to select your whole, to get a discount on your order. I also had a sweepstakes date, which passed, and I never ran the campaign. So in terms of points, I'm just going to go through it as I set it up here. This is what I typically do, although I'm thinking about changing this last number. And again, I could talk about points till the cows come home, because you have to do points a specific way for today. And upViral, I know, is working on some changes to make the points work better. And I'll just leave it there. Typically, what I do is 1 point for a direct sign up. So this is the person. I'm going to switch back over to my keynote presentation, and I'm going to find this page, and my phone's going to ring. And so what we're talking about is people coming in to the lead page and opting in, remember. And what do those points for opting in, what do they get? The direct sign up is for people who came from this traffic source. People who came from places where you posted the link. You or your client, if you're working for a client. Those people are direct. Points for referred sign up is the people who come through this sharing process. So if you signed up, go to the sharing page and post it on Facebook, and Betty Lou, your neighbor, comes in through the social sharing and comes in as a referral, how many points does she get for signing up? The answer should be the same for both. Whether you make this be 5, 10, or 1, I think 1 makes the most sense. You get 1 point for signing up. 1 chance to win the prize. Prize is whatever your offer is for signing up. And they both should be the same. I have not ever found anybody that can tell me a reason for making a referral be more or less points. I feel like anybody that signs up ought to get the same number of points, regardless how they got there. The third box is points for each referred visitor. In my book, this should be 0. We don't want to reward people, and this is the points that would be given. Tony says, direct sign up, does it include people in your email list? Absolutely, because this purple box over here is anything that you do to get people into your campaign, whether it's from your email list, through Facebook ads, through posting on your social media, or a client, if you're doing this for a client and having them share it. Anybody that you directly send to the campaign. Now, you can do, we're not going to get into it, but you can do tracking. You can separate the people that come through Facebook and your email, and you can see what the conversion rates are if you're using upViral. But direct sign up is people that come from this purple box, which is any way that you get them there. Now, this referred visitor box, so if Betty Lou signs up and does social sharing and her friend Joanne comes in, should Betty Lou get points for her friend Joanne just looking at the lead page? If that makes sense, that's what this box is talking about. My personal belief is that nobody should get points just for visiting. It does nothing for me as a campaign owner if 200,000 people show up. Granted, it does give me a little visibility, but it doesn't, I don't want to reward people just for visiting. I want to reward people for signing up and taking actions. So I always make this be 0. I need another quick swig. Hold on. This points is critical to the process. Hope that comes through. I've talked about a lot of things being critical, but you have to be able to reward people for taking actions. And the other tools do things somewhat differently. So again, I'm just talking about upViral, but they have similar functions in Vyper and Gleam and all those other tools. For example, if I switch back over to here and jump into the Gleam example, refer friends get 100,000 points in this offer. So they would put 100,000 points in this box inside of Gleam. So points for referred lead, again, for Betty Lou who signs up, jumping back to my diagram, Betty Lou signs up and she shares it on her social media, and her friend Joanne comes in and Joanne gets to the landing page and signs up. How many points does Betty Lou get for referring Joanne? We're giving 20. I'm kind of thinking about upping my recommendation to 30 or 50. These are the gold. These are the people that matter the most to us, relatively speaking. Obviously, direct leads are important, but referred leads are the ones that are basically free-ish to us, and this is the ones that we want to incentivize. If we go back, I'm going to jump way back and ring a bell for you. If I can, where is it? I got too many slides. The old way of doing it with the contest, with the fishbowl and you put your entry in, does, see now I got the fishbowl, keep that picture in your head. The fishbowl is only this. This is the lead page, and that's it. People put in their business card in, or their entry into the box, and this is all you get in the old way of doing things. We're now sharing. You're getting other people to come in, and those people are why we're doing this whole process. If you can run a list building campaign directly through ClickFunnels and add people to your list, and that's just this landing page and direct traffic, you can do that all day long. That works great. Millions of businesses do that. This is an opt-in on your homepage. This is a ClickFunnels process to get people to use your lead magnet and that kind of stuff. We're supplementing the entire process by doing the sharing page and getting new people to come in order to break that process of people wanting to win and not referring their friends. We're going to give them 20 chances to win the big prizes or more, depending upon how I decide to change that, but at least 20. And you send them an email and we're going to go through that in just a second, but they will get an email that says, hey, somebody just signed up. You've got 20 extra chances to win the toaster oven that we're offering. How about you go get some more people? You can get 20 points for every one of those. 20 extra chances to win the toaster oven. Isn't that cool? So the incentive here inside this box is what we really, really, really want to have happen. Does that make sense? Does everybody grasp that? This is the key to the entire process. If you're not doing that, then just go back to your normal landing page and get people to opt in. If you're not incentivizing people, go back to ground zero. That's the whole point of doing these tools. Now, the other thing that you can do is these sharing buttons, and you can give X number of points. Let me go back to the example of this landing page. This is the sharing page. We're talking about these buttons over here that say Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. That's how many points they get for doing those sharing processes. Now, they only, inside upViral, they only get those one time. They can only earn those points once. Now, I would love to see upViral do it daily. Inside of Gleam, for example, you can do daily points. I believe you can do it inside of Vyper. I think Viral Loops will let you earn daily points. The idea there being, if you get people to come back to your page, they see your offer again, they share it again, they get more points, you're on top of mind. Tony says, this setup would be for a contest. Yes, I apologize. You're right. Great. So the points, dang good question. You can do the points for either a referral, just a pure referral campaign, and I did not delineate that. I apologize earlier. That you can run a campaign that is just a referral campaign where you're not offering big prizes, a random draw, sweepstakes, contest kind of thing. I'm going to reach up here and turn on my fan because it's getting warm in this room. So you can do a referral program, which is where the rewards kick in. I kind of glossed over that. So if you get X number of points, then you earn a prize. That's what the reward was. We talked about that kind of earlier. So Tony, I'm trying to answer your second question. What if you want to use it as a referral system? You still have to offer points. And points are, you're going to add points up to get the reward. So in this case, let me go back here. I have earned 30% off your whole order. If you get 101 points, then you get a 30% off email that says, here's a coupon to get 30% off. Or if you want to offer a toaster oven, if they get X number of points. Let me also jump back to a great example of that is this thread case study that's on the resources page. She did a campaign where she not only had an offer of a $600 prize, but if you had one referral, if you brought in one friend, then you got a free spool of thread. So that was a combination of a big prize and a referral system. So you should take a look at that because she was doing both. It's not just a pure referral system, but you can do that with upViral. And there isn't a whole lot of difference in the setup. Inside the sweepstakes, if you're just doing a pure referral, you turn that off. Let me go back to this one. In the sweepstakes, you turn that off. So you can do either a referral system, which is rewards, or a sweepstakes, or you can do both. Hopefully that's not muddy. If it is, let me know, Tony, and we can walk through it again later because we got a lot of way to go. And I appreciate the feedback from Dan. Thank you. And I know I get long-winded because I get really passionate about this stuff, and I want you to know everything there is to know so that you can run a campaign. But obviously, we can't get there in a short period of time. If you're starting out now, if I can create a campaign, like I said, I can crank one out in about 30 minutes if I have everything planned and know what goes where. All right, so we are on, and notice, by the way, inside the sweepstakes section of upViral, there isn't any conversation here about defining what the prizes are. All of that, surprise, is just in the body text of your offer. You can put whatever you want to in the landing page. You don't define the prizes here inside of upViral, which is also part of the reason why I don't like the automatic winner selection, because inside of upViral, if you're offering, let's say, prize A and prize B, and there are different values, and you have it set to automatically select winners, you can't say, pick prize A winner, prize B winner. And I'm not going to dive into all that, but don't do automatic. Just don't. It gets messy. But there is no definition of the prizes inside of any of the tools. None of the tools do that. All of the definition of the prizes is inside the lead page. If I go over here to this campaign, I'm sorry, I haven't finished the points, but all of that is actually inside the landing page, and I'll mention that in a minute. At the bottom is the custom actions. So again, inside of Gleam, now this campaign did not have any custom actions. We built this before custom actions existed inside of upViral. The Gleam campaign, all of these are basically custom actions down at the bottom. So they have a different way of creating them inside of Gleam, but we're talking about most of these things down here. Okay, again, clear as mud. I hope it's clear. But you can add those custom actions inside of upViral. Vyper has, in my opinion, a much better process for custom actions than upViral does. And because this is a basics class, I'm not going to go through and explain all of that. And I apologize, but I could spend 20 minutes discussing the differences between those tools. If you want to do custom actions, go to Gleam. Or if you really want to learn about the best way of doing custom actions, Vyper has that. And if you have questions, we can talk about that later, but I can't go through that now. All right. Because we got a lot of stuff to finish through. Lead capture, and I already opened that here. I have 2 pages defined inside of upViral, and that's what one of the pages look like. Inside of upViral, you can do split testing. I'm not sure you can do split testing in Vyper. I haven't really thought about that recently. Split testing works great inside of upViral. So you define 2 pages, and it will automatically send traffic at 50-50 between those until you decide which one wins. Team DeVries says you cannot split test in Vyper, which is what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. If you want to create inside of upViral, you can create multiple lead pages. Let me go through the process, which is important. Oh, I don't have points defined over here. I guess it doesn't matter. I can go to the next step. Now, what happens inside of upViral is when you're first building your first campaign. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. When you're building a campaign, whether it's your first one or your 50th, unless you're doing a clone, but that's all another story, you have to choose whether you're running the campaign as an upViral hosted page for your landing page, or whether you're using a widget. So if you're using something like ClickFunnels and want to embed this in your site, then you can choose a widget. And the widget is only the sign-up form. You can have a little bit of text and maybe an image, but basically it's just the sign-up form. It's not the rest of the page. This is a hosted page. This is completely built inside of upViral. It has the form on it, but it also has the look and feel of a full page, all of this is built inside of upViral. So when you're first getting to your lead capture page, you have to decide whether you're going to run it on upViral or whether you're going to do a widget. And once you make this decision, you can't go back, which is something I've wished was different, but that's the way the tool is. You cannot change this campaign once you've made this decision. Now, a long story. Oh, Tony asked the question, which one do you usually use, a viral page or embeddable widget? That's where I was going. Thank you, Tony. You win the prize for leading me on. No, I don't know. I don't do that. Except for, I think, 2 campaigns that I have done for clients. All of them have been upViral landing pages. I don't have a reason to use another tool. And let me use this as an example. Well, let me show you. If I built it in my website and just pretend down here is the body of my campaign, it kind of looks like this. I've got a great Mother's Day gift idea, some description of the prize, and a form. And I do that on my website. So that body is, just pretend it's down here, right? Can you pretend? Can you visualize? What's at the top of the page? An entire distraction. Oh, look, I can go learn about Mitch's stories and his case studies and content and news. And potentially there are all kinds of major distractions from the campaign. My gut says, I want people to only see this. I want them to focus on the landing page. I want to focus on signing up for my campaign. I don't want them to get distracted. My other people that I have talked to, Bradley and others, agree with me on this, but it's up to you. It is completely up to you whether you want that to happen. I will tell you that the folks over at the Bunky campaign did it as an embeddable widget, and they preferred it that way. JT says, respectful argument. Why not create a standalone page on your site and then embed? A, it's more work, in my book. B, how many times do you embed a page on your website that doesn't have the look and feel of your own website and menus and everything else? Typically, you do put in all this stuff. And therefore, all of that stuff is a distraction. If it looks exactly like kind of, I mean, the other argument, JT, and I'm going to get to your question, Tony, the other argument is, well, I can build a prettier page inside of ClickFunnels or Convertri or one of the other tools than I can inside of upViral. It ain't about pretty. Let me say that 10 times until I'm blue in the face. It ain't about pretty. What is it about? Hello, somebody say it. It's all about the offer. I'm going to just jump ahead. It's about the offer. It doesn't frickin' matter what the page looks like. And I'm going to give you the perfect damn example. This one. The final day, they had commas, 944 million entries. And if you calculate that out and make an estimate, I came up with maybe 20,000 people entered this campaign. This is what they saw. Is this pretty? It's all about the damn offer. It's all about, I want to win an Amazon gift card for 50 bucks. That's all it is. If you're wasting your time making it pretty, and I don't, obviously I like things to look good. I don't want it to look amateur, but I spend my time on the offer, on making my offer trustworthy, because I don't think this is trustworthy, frankly, because I don't know who offered the damn prize. Why do I give up my email address to somebody I don't know what they're going to do with it? I can go on and on and on. I don't care what it really, really, really looks like. Some people do. We've had that argument. My ultimate answer is it's quicker and easier to build it inside of upViral than it is to build a landing page, get the code for the widget. I can't tell you how many people screw up the code for the widget, put it in their website. They don't understand how the widget works. They do testing. It doesn't work the way they frickin' want it to. They spend hours debugging it when they could have just had it frickin' up and running inside of upViral. And I tell you, the odds are it's not going to matter one frickin' iota on what the conversion rate's going to be. Okay. I could spend hours, and I love having this discussion, don't get me wrong. So that's my long-winded, short, medium-winded answer. Tony says, what if you use a funnel builder like Convertri? Okay, I hopefully answered that. It doesn't matter what funnel builder. Yes, you can use Convertri. They all work. It's just extra work because you got to figure out how they work, how to embed the damn thing. Why not just use the damn tool? I mean, if people can get 20,000 email addresses for something this ugly, it's about the offer. Put the time and effort into building your offer. I had a young lady as that came into the upViral group that was a designer because she builds fancy artwork. She's a website designer, and she spent 3 weeks fighting with her design and a widget. 3 blankety weeks when she could have had her contest up and running. And she said, well, I have to have it look exactly perfect because I'm a designer and that's my reputation. And I wanted to smack the living crap out of her. I'm sorry if she's watching. I just wanted to smack her because she wasted so much time, and she never really got the offer to look right the way she wanted it to. Give up on the design part of it. Just get your offer out there, get the leads on your list, and then convert them to sales. Quit frickin' working on it. Oh my gosh, sorry. A lot of Russell Brunson's pages are ugly, but they convert because he has a good offer. Thank you, Team DeVries. Ring the bell. It's all about the damn offer. I told you that before. It's all about the offer. All right, I'm going to move on. Deep breaths. Now, back in upViral, you have to choose whether you're going to do a landing page or a widget right here, right now, inside your campaign. If you decide to go with a widget and then bail out, upViral won't let you have to build a new campaign. And I dislike that, but that's the way it is. It is what it is. So build a campaign on upViral. Notice up here it says, I haven't completed it. This is the status of the campaign right there. Now you got a whole bunch of options. They're not the best options. Oh, Tony says, can you do a CNAME in upViral? I hope I'm asking the right question. Yes, that's an advanced topic. It's right here, custom domain. Inside of settings, I use it all the time. It has to do with branding. It has to do with the website URL. That's an advanced topic you can learn in my other class. Bang. Absolutely. So in a sense, thank you for asking the question, Tony, because in a sense, the vast majority of people think it's your damn website anyway. You can say contest.tonyduarte.com and people think it's your website, but it's hosted on upViral. They don't know. Save yourself a headache. So there's different styles. If you go look at my 2 examples, I've got the single column and then I got the side-by-side one. So this is the single column, this is the side-by-side. You can put a video in there, you can put an image in there, blah, blah, blah. How they look on your smartphone's important, so test them out. Try them. This particular one up here has this banner at the top, and then it has a button, and then it has more stuff down at the bottom. This one has the sign-up box on the the left, and then the video / whatever on the right. There is a webinar one. If I click on demo, you can see more details. So this is really nice looking. It has a banner here where you can put the people, and then you can put more text down at the bottom and videos if you want, blah, blah, blah. I hate you who asked that. Oh, Tony, sorry. Let me finish. New York is also a webinar kind of look and feel. Then there's Sophia. I like Sophia partially because it has a micro commitment box where you have to click. So if you want that option, the thing I don't like about it is this diagonal kind of thing. It depends upon your look and feel question. My point being that there's multiple looks and feels. I do not use Krakow, by the way. I will tell you, I don't like this one. I love the look of Krakow. But the thing that drives me absolutely bonkers about Krakow is this. There is no way that you can put anything on the right side of this header. And that's good and bad. If you look at this on, say, a smartphone, then it's not there, which is okay because the vast majority of people enter on smartphones these days, right? But on a desktop, you can't do anything about this, and I think it just drives me bonkers that I can't put something there. But maybe you like the rest of this. Like there's these testimonial boxes that are built for you, and then there's another sign-up thing at the bottom, and blah, blah, blah. So there's multiple looks and feels. So can you not switch the background? Of course I can switch the background image. I can put whatever image I want to there. And I know where you're going, JT. Well, why don't you just put a picture of your product over here? When you are on a smartphone, those people cannot see whatever you put on the right side of that image. You see how it shrinks up? So that section is useless if that's where you were trying to go, which is where you were trying to go, weren't you? Huh. I know you, JT. But so it has its pluses and minuses. So man, you're asking good questions now. Like you weren't before. And I know we're almost at 2 hours, so I'm sorry we're going to run over. Is that all right? Are you guys okay with that? Whew, I get long-winded. I'm sorry. So the first question Tony asked is, which one do you prefer template? I use multiples. I've used Paris, and I like Paris because the image is on the right-hand side, and it ends up being at the bottom, because if you look at some of these on a smartphone, like for example, if I do demo here and I pretend it's on a smartphone by shrinking it down, then the left-hand section is at the top and then the rest of it's at the bottom. So I kind of go for that. But unfortunately, by the way, and I have a hack for this, but unfortunately, if you select an image for the background, this text becomes somewhat invisible depending upon which image you put in the background. So again, there's nuances to all of these things that you kind of have to monkey with. This one, for example, the Sydney one, has the image on the left and the box on the right. And if you shrink this down, then that ends up being what people see on the smartphone. So they see this before they see the description. And I typically don't care for that. So I don't use Sydney very often. And they're all city names, by the way, if you haven't noticed. I use Toronto a lot. I use Cape Town if I'm going to do something that might be a webinar. New York is also really nice in terms of a webinar. And I like Sophia just because of the fonts and stuff, even though it has that diagonal that I personally don't care for. But that's and if you want, frickin', you can use the blank canvas, which is, you put whatever you want to on here. So the second question that Tony asked was, are the templates editable? Yes. I'm going to take 2 minutes and show you that, because I could spend all day on the editor. And I do in my classes. Plug. If you go get my basic upViral class, I spend a lot more time on these things, although I've probably spent too much time on it anyway. Or if you get into the Win Together program, we spend a lot of time on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select one. I'll select one that I hardly ever use because it has this wooden background, but it's just a basic deal. Get started right away, download your free report. By the way, I saw an article that said he did 6 bazillion split tests, and he found out even if it says something like, we will not spam, this is a sidebar, if the word spam is in there, people convert less. So don't ever put the word spam in your landing page. Even though you're trying to tell people that you're not going to spam them, they see the word spam and will bounce. Use different words. I saved that somewhere, but I don't know where it is. All right, so on the left is your information about the landing page, and you can change. They have some default images. You'll see these if you poke around on different campaigns. You see these used all the time. There's clouds, there's this laissez-faire, there's the grass, which is the one I have over here. Right? So you can pick those, or you can pick their wooden background for this particular one. This is not on most of the other campaigns, or you can upload your own. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but make sure that your uploaded one is generic, like these. Don't make it have text in it unless you know what you're doing, because I know people that do something with text and they know what they're doing and it looks great. Advanced feature conversation. You can change the colors of these things in the buttons right here. You can change this button style. You can turn on the Facebook opt-in if you want. You can edit the text in there. You can change all of this stuff. You can put a whole bunch of text up here. Notice if I select something, and I'm sorry, I have this tool called Pop Clip. And if I double select something, that's this thing up here, and it's an awesome, awesome tool, which I don't need to go into, so I'm going to just turn it off. I love Pop Clip, saves me tons of time. So if you select something, this editor window pops up. If you just click somewhere, it's not there. So you have to double click to get it to pop up. But you can change the font size, you can change the font family, but you can only use these small number of font families. And that's okay, because we don't care about the look and the feel as much as we, I mean, I know people that argue about, well, my website uses Montserrat or Montserrat, whatever, however you say it. And I have gone in and changed it. So if you click on this code view, you can go into the HTML for that section of the page, and you can put in your own fonts if you really, really freaking want to. But you can strike through bold, you can add paragraph format, you can add a style, you can add, you can space it out, you can uppercase it, you can do all kinds of stuff with the editor. You can add links, you can superscript, you can add a custom button, you can add a video, you can put YouTube videos in there, blah, blah, blah. You can do all kinds of editing. It's not a perfect editor. It sucks in many ways as an editor. But you can go in and change things somewhat. It's designed to just get the damn thing up and running and make it look very attractive, but it's not going to do every bell and whistle that you want for an editor, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes I get mad because certain sections, like I want to decrease the amount of space between this button and this text down here, and I can't do it, but life moves on, right? You can turn the terms and conditions on and off. You can edit the terms and conditions. You can require the participants to enter or to agree to the terms and conditions, which is something that was valuable for GDPR in Europe. And you can change that text if you want, blah, blah, blah. You can change the colors. So there's quite a few things you can change. I am not going to save that. We're just going to move on. Obviously, you can spend time figuring out how to run the editor on your own. So now I have a landing page. So I'm going to go on to the next step, which is the sharing page. Now, notice it says you decided to use full width hosted templates. Again, I can't use a widget here. because I decided to use landing pages. So if I click on create a new social, notice there are just a few. They're not as many as the other one. There is no blank one, for example, which I don't know why, but I guess they didn't want it. I don't know. I don't know why, but there is no blank one like in the others. But you can use the same, or you can use a different one. There are some favorites here. I use Toronto. I use Berlin. If I were doing a webinar, I could use Paris. I use Sofia all the time. I like Krakow because it doesn't have that problem with the image, and yes, I can change the image. I kind of like Krakow the most, or Sofia the most. I don't care for Rome, and part of it is that they don't show it to me in the dang demo. Oh, there it is. So the rewards show up here. The rewards, which is I don't like the way the rewards appear on this. I don't care. The other thing that I didn't mention before is you can have a leaderboard if you're doing most points. All of these have the option of doing a leaderboard. They've actually changed this a little bit because the leaderboard appears, because it used to be at the bottom. They've changed the way this one looks. So there's things I like about each one of these and things I don't. So I'm just going to, one of the things I don't care for, I'll mention it. I'm going to do this demo on Sydney. Is Sydney has this tab format up at the top. And 99% of the people that I have tested with this don't realize that there are tabs up here. And they see the share, which is where they have the buttons for doing the sharing stuff. But they don't ever realize that if I'm running a leaderboard, that the leaderboard is here. And they don't understand the progress to getting the rewards is also in another tab. And so I really dislike, personal opinion, I dislike Sydney because it has those tabs, and I dislike Barcelona because it also has tabs. If I do the demo, there's a way that tabs show up, and I've forgotten why. So I don't think I think there's, I mean, or is it, there's a bar up here at the top you can see in the demo, but, or in their thumbnail. Anyway, so I typically end up using either Sofia or Krakow or Toronto. Those are the three I typically use. If you're asking Tony, which one is my preference? Because I know you're going to ask it. So I'm just going to pick Krakow for this demo. And again, I can change that background image. Obviously, you need to worry about the color of the fonts and stuff. And the sections, what I wanted to show you here is notice that it has all of the buttons turned off. And these are turned off by default because I didn't put points in. I don't know if you were watching, but I showed you the points on my demo Phobo-K campaign, but I didn't actually add them on the one that I started to do here. So upViral's decided that since I don't have points, that I probably don't want to show that, but you can turn those on and off in the editor. So you can decide which buttons you want to appear or not appear. I didn't mention that before, so I wanted to show you that. And you can do WhatsApp and Messenger. So you can do, I also don't like the word they use here for the slider. You can turn that on and off if you have rewards. I didn't create any rewards, so I can't do that. I can turn the terms and conditions on, and I can do the leaderboard. So those are all optional depending upon how you're running your campaign. Okay, that's the quick run through on the editor. That's the quick start. That's what we're trying to do is quick start, and we're already over our 2 hours. Again, I apologize. I hope we're okay. If we're not, you can drop off and watch the recording. So those are the lead capture and the sharing pages. This is something that kind of drives me bonkers. I cannot get to the social appearance, even though I've done these steps. I've done the lead capture and the share page. I've reported this bug, but you have to actually click save and next in order to get to social appearance. You can't just select it up here. See, because I can jump around to these, but I can't get to social appearance, even though I've done a share page. But anyway, it's a minor nit. But that I've run into people that have had trouble where they're like, I can't get to the social appearance. Now, the social appearance is where you define what it's going to look like. If I flip back over to our keynote, not that, on the share page. Sorry, I am fuzzing out. Not on the share page, we're on social appearance. So when you have a button that says share on Facebook, what is going to appear on the social sharing? And this again is something that you have to have built in advance when you're running a campaign. I don't have these things built, so I'm going to jump over to my pre-built campaign. This is like the cooking show where they reach over the oven and the thing's already baked. So I go to sharing appearance. You have these tabs across the top for Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and email. If you don't put anything in Twitter and Pinterest, it's going to use the stuff from Facebook. So you don't have to do those. Although if you're doing Pinterest, I recommend you do a tall and skinny image, because Pinterest is built that way. But Facebook and Twitter, so you're going to enter some text up here. Oops, I have substituted a different image. I was doing a demo, I guess, and changed the image. That's not the right one. But down at the bottom, they give you a preview of what potentially your social sharing message is going to look like. I say potentially because it depends upon what medium you're looking at, whether the user sees 2 rows of header or 2 rows of body text, et cetera, et cetera. This can appear differently on the different physical devices that the users are using. So you have to be very careful about this. I recommend that you make sure that your header line is only 1 line and that your body text is 1 or 2 if you're okay with getting the second row clipped. There's also an email section here, and people do use this function. So what happens is that people send out an email if they're looking at the sharing page. I'm not on the sharing page here. If I go to a share page, which one did I pick? Let's just look at this one. There is this email button. Now notice in this particular campaign, I edited the text to try to get people to understand that they were going to get 20 points for referral, plus the 5 points for clicking the button. I never got to test this particular page, but anyway, there's an email button. So if they click this, then they get sent to their email program. And that's what this is. So they can have a section where they can customize a template for an email. So if Betty Lou enters and wants to send this to her friend Joanne as an email, there's text for that to happen. So that's what these 4 tabs are on the social media appearance. Now, the real kicker here, the key is this message. Let me scroll all the way down. This message is what your cold traffic sees. This is a key thing, and many people ignore this process. Let's go back to this flow. So let's assume that the traffic source from you is warmish traffic. You've filtered on Facebook ads, or you're using your email list like Tony said. We're talking about warm people that hit the landing page and sign up. But when those warm people do the sharing, you got to remember that those people are cold traffic. The people that see the social sharing message, they might be warm. They might be people who know what you're doing and what your offer is. But you have to assume that those people are cold, and this image has to grasp them enough that they're willing to click on it to come to your landing page. Does that make sense? You guys still with me? I know there's still quite a few of you here, so thank you for staying through. I have run over. Hopefully this is making a lot of sense, but this is critical for your process. If you don't spend time on building a social media presence that gets people that are cold to come to your landing page, then you're not going to get them. Now, the second side of that is what? Your landing page had better frickin' attract them. I have had multiple clients who have come to me and said, well, I'm just going to put the basics on my landing page. I'll just preview it. I'm going to make this absolutely stone cold basic because everybody that I'm sending to this campaign knows me, loves me, knows what I'm offering. I've told them about it in a really long email, or they've even set up a landing page. I saw one just recently, and they had a landing page that was 6 miles long, which was a very, very awesome landing page that described the contest in detail, and didn't understand that in this process. So imagine, I can't draw it right here. Imagine where my cursor is, a landing page, which takes them to the contest page. But the social sharing doesn't take those people to that landing page. It takes them to the lead page of the upViral process, or Vyper, or any of the other tools. They all work this way. And so the assumption was that you got them all warmed up, you got them all warm and fuzzy, but you've forgotten completely that the whole point of doing this, not the whole point, but the referral traffic, which I say is gold, has no idea what you're doing. And if you give them a very basic landing page that doesn't solve their pain, doesn't tell them why they have to have this. Now, obviously, the $50 Amazon gift card, you don't have to describe to anybody, right? But I've forgotten who asked. I think it was Tony asked earlier about, well, I want to offer my thing. Well, suppose your thing is 2 hours of coaching with Tony Duarte. Nobody knows Tony. I'm sorry, Tony. I don't mean to offend you, but nobody knows who Tony is. You have to convince people that when they hit this page, now they understand. You got to sell them. They got to talk about their pain. You got to understand why they want it. Is this not obvious, like an Amazon gift card? Assume that cold traffic is hitting your page. JT says, well, Tony says, yes, you have to be detailed. JT says, this is why I was asking about creating your own landing page. But the point is to edit this page in upViral to make it more like a landing page. Yes, and I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. Again, some of the things that I know in my head. Hopefully this is coming through for anybody that's stuck with me for 2 hours. This page has to convert cold traffic unless you've got the most awesome thing. I mean, if you're offering an iPad, which is the wrong offer, everybody knows what an iPad is. But if you're offering JT's weight loss, you got to convince them that they're overweight. You know how to sell people, JT. You know how to convince them that they need to change their lives. You can't come to this page and just say, I'm giving away JT's weight loss program, and have them understand what, I've forgotten what you call it. I apologize. You got to sell them. You got to make this a sales page. And it is a 2-page process. Like I've said, I know people that try to make it a 3 or 4-page process. It is not a funnel. Okay, it is a funnel. It's a 2-page funnel. It is a landing page and a sharing page. That's it. There are some ways, if you really want to go to details and come talk to me, there are ways that you can make this a different process. But for the 99.9% of you, it's a 2-page process. All you want to do is get them to sign up for your campaign. You can do all kinds of other crap later on. This page needs to match your already proven landing page. That's one way of looking at it, Tony, or not Tony, JT, yes. Again, I said that at the beginning, you pointed that out. We have an existing process. You already are selling. You already know what you're doing. We're not talking about brand new people that don't know how to sell, don't know how to convert. We're only talking about getting awesome brand new leads that you've never talked to before to come to your to see your offer and get them to sign up on your list, so then you can convert them later. I deleted it, I think, but basically you saw this page where I had the sales page down here at the bottom, right? Your contests up here, even though I was talking about custom actions, your contest process is this loop that goes on up here. Once you have them on your list down here, you can convert the kajibers out of them. Yes, I know you're reinforcing my point. Thank you, Tony. I'm reinforcing it myself. Yes. This is not about sales. This is about getting them to your already converting offer. That's a short way of selling it, saying it. I can't talk, I'm tired. Does that make sense? Yes, hopefully it does. If you have any questions, let me know. Tony says, ideas are going through my head on how I can convert my current landing page into an upViral funnel. There are, in my program, I have to be a little salesy, right? Because, I mean, I know I've talked for 2 hours and 15 minutes, but there is so much more. I have, from this diagram, I have 7 different ways that you can build this loop for a webinar, for an existing sales site. There are all kinds of different ways that you can do a survey as a lead page. There are ways that you can tweak the system. We're here for a short, hey, Tony, slow down, build your first contest, get people on your list, and then figure out how to start converting them, tweaking the process, because I want you to understand the process. I know I've given you a good start, but physically doing it the first time, light bulbs are going to go off like crazy. You're going to have fireworks going off over your head, which is why I get so excited about this, because there's so many different ways you can use it. But once you get them coming in and you start getting them to share more, which is not what we're really totally focused on right now in your first campaign. We just want you to get used to the basic process. All kinds of stuff jumps out of here. I'm thinking like the Bunky guy. Yes. And if you want to go that way, I'm more than happy to, you can hire me and I will help you go that direction. And there's the case study for the Bunky. I don't think I put it on the landing page. Well, actually, let's go back over here. I am thinking that maybe I put it on here. I was thinking about putting it on here, but I haven't done it yet. I will share the link. If you ask me for it somewhere, I will give you the dang link. It's a great case study. If you want to go there, you can go there. I just recommend you start small. You don't need to be Bunky crazy about your first campaign. He did it. That's okay for him. But there are gobs of different ways of doing this. Now, let me quickly get through the rest of this stuff. So that's the social appearance. Again, you have to click on, am I in the right place? Yes. Save and next to get to the next section. Huh. Great. How come I can't get the email? Something is not right. So, because I haven't put anything in here. Didn't I? Doesn't that? Do I have to have an image here? One of the things in there is some sharing images in the freebie section. I'm just going to grab one of the samples. Save. Oh, save and next. Can I do save and next? I don't know why. There we go, finally. Huh. I didn't realize they tweaked it on. Thank you, JT. JT says, first campaign, learn, learn, learn. Thank you. Bless your heart, JT. Email notifications. I told you before, when we were looking at this chart, that upViral sends out some transactional emails. We're now in that section where you can send emails, like right after the registration. Once somebody signs up through the referral link, I mentioned that. I deselect this because I do not want upViral sending an email. I don't want upViral sending an email to the winner. I want that to happen manually myself. That's me. If you want to do it differently, that's okay. But I always turn it off. Don't do it. And fraud, and we're not doing confirmations. That's a whole topic in itself. Now, let's suppose I want to edit the email. If I click on this, it's not intuitively obvious because there isn't, I mean, it's underscored like it's a link, but it's not. I have so many people say, well, how do I edit that? Well, you click on that and it pops down. Now you can add additional emails if you want to do split tests, blah, blah, blah. They have a little basic editor, but they have a really simple default email for you. You can come in and personalize this. You can put their name, for example. You can put their points and stuff like that, which I show you because if you're wanting to send that stuff through your autoresponder does not know how many points somebody has. There is no link between upViral points and your autoresponder. So there is an awesome difference and a reason for sending emails out of upViral. Again, we could talk about this till the cows come home. I got to get you out of here so we can move. But this is how you go in and edit the emails and stuff. Somebody want to ask a question? I heard somebody say something. Do I use my autoresponder at all? Oh, Ken, I'm sorry. Are you gonna ask a question, Ken? I'm gonna mute Ken. If you do want to ask a question, go ahead and ask, but do you use your autoresponder at all? Heck yes, Tony. I use my autoresponder all day long. Because if I look at this, the autoresponder is where I send all of my informational emails. Hey, I'm having a sale. Hey, buy this thing. Hey, did you hear about the latest upViral change or whatever? You cannot do those kind of emails inside of upViral. upViral only has these transaction types. One email when they register, one email if they sign up through a referral link. So Betty Lou's or Joanne signs up through Betty Lou's link. Fraud, confirmation if you have it turned on, which some places require it, but I don't. That's it. Besides the transactional emails, you can't do anything else inside of upViral, so you have to have an autoresponder. You cannot send an email that says, hey, there's only 4 days left in the contest inside of upViral. You have to use that. So, okay, Tony says, I got you. JT says, got it. Thank you for elaborating. It is confusing. People don't necessarily understand. They say, well, why do I need an autoresponder? Because I can send emails, but you can't send a whole lot of good stuff. Now, upViral's talking about adding some functionality there. Vyper has much better emails, just to plug Vyper, than upViral does. But upViral says they're thinking about adding other tools. I mean, it would be really nice to have an email, which Vyper does, that says, oh, by the way, we give a reward at 100 points and you got 97. Just 3 more points and you'll get this blah, blah, blah. Vyper does that, upViral doesn't. So again, there are pluses and minuses to all the tools. All right. Now, I'm going to just tell you, pick basic template, the middle one. Template number 2 is, I like it better, but it also has branding on it. Just pick that one for now. Email autoresponder. So if you go into settings, integrations, and define your email autoresponder, you can select it. So I'm going to select MailChimp, for example. When you select one that's already defined, so this is using my emails, my thing, I can pick the list that I want my leads to go to automatically. So when somebody signs up inside of upViral, they get added to upViral leads, and they also get added to the autoresponder if I do this. I always turned off double opt-in, but that's my choice. So I could pick my, I have a lot of these because I work with different clients. If I pick my active campaign, it's currently tagged to my own active campaign, so I can pick my list. So my giveawayRocket people, I can send viral list builders people. Now, depending upon which system you're using, you can also send tags, and I'm not going to spend any time talking about that, but for rewards, if I select Actionetics, for example, which is part of ClickFunnels, you see that section down here with tags isn't here because upViral doesn't talk to Actionetics tags. So you can see different functions depending upon which autoresponder you're using, and that's an advanced topic, but I think you get my idea. I'm going to switch back to mail. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do save and next. The advanced settings is really kind of complicated, but if you have, if we talked about, what if your autoresponder is not listed? Great question, Tony. I'm going to go into settings, integrations. You can do add new, and you can pick from this list HTML form. So every autoresponder, you call it whatever you want to, every autoresponder known to man that's of any decency, if it's not in that list, and notice that's a pretty long list of different tools that it supports. If it's not supported, and I have had to use one that wasn't supported, use HTML form, go over to that tool, and they will give you form code. So all it's trying to do is map fields to fields. I don't have time to go into all that, but you can use that functionality. I'm just going to close that. It's going to confuse me. But Tony, if you're using custom domain, here's where you pick the domain that you're using, and you notice I've used a lot. You pick that here in the advanced settings, and you have to go to the custom domain and point to the right campaign with, again, another story. If you're using Facebook, tracking pixels, other kinds of tools, you can enter those in the headers and footers of the sharing and the lead pages. I'm not going to get into all these details because this is a whole convoluted discussion, but the terms and conditions are important. So if you are sharing the terms and conditions, you put that in here. You now have the ability to do locations. If you want to restrict to only the United States, for example, you can come and say, well, I only want people to come from the United States, which is really awesome. That's new. Oh, damn, you ask questions. So lastly, I'll get to that in a second, Tony. I always recommend that you do something, one of these choices. Do not leave this on default when the campaign is closed, because right now you'll see that it is listed as open. Because I've gone through all the steps, it now says I can do that. Make sure you pick either a custom page, which you can use, you can build a custom page, or send somebody to another URL. Make sure you do that. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that. Tony, Question: do you have 2 different custom domains for a WordPress site? One for the landing page and one for the referral page? No. You have one custom domain for your campaign. So if I go to custom domain, and notice I have a whole bunch of old ones here, notice that the domain that you put, like giveaway.planet5d.com, is going to a specific campaign. You do not have a different custom domain or a different CNAME for each landing page or a referral page. And by the way, at any one time, you can only have one campaign active for a custom domain. And I am not going to spend a lot of time talking about that conversation because that's way advanced. We're way beyond where I wanted to go. But that's how you do that. Does it make sense? All right. So that gets us through the entire process of building a quick campaign. Whew, holy cow. And we're in the questions section. Joe, thank you. If you have any questions, I'm basically done. I believe now you understand, if you stuck with me, you believe why you need to be creating a campaign. You believe in having an email list because that's where the dollars are. You get people to convert through your email list. If you're on Facebook and trying to build your business through Facebook, Facebook takes your page away, you're screwed. But if you have your people on your email list, you can always get to them. And yes, it depends on open rates and blah, 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 blah. But if you have people on your email list, you always have access to them theoretically. And if you get screwed by Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever you're building your business, you're screwed. Ken says, 2 thumbs up on a job well done. Thank you. I'm sorry it took me longer than I thought it was going to take. And I probably gave you more information than I wanted to on a first run through. I appreciate your patience and I hope this serves you. Does Facebook, Instagram insert social media here, block or limit these types of messages? Oh my gosh. JT. That's a great question. You guys are now starting to ask questions that are really advanced topic kind of conversations, but I'll answer them if you give me a second. Does Facebook insert social media here, block? I'm not. Oh, I get you. Does Facebook, Instagram, or other tool block or limit these types of messages? It depends. I don't have any statistics on that. What I can tell you is that we do see good numbers.
Hey, Mitch. Yeah, this is JT. I was just checking to see if, if you've run into that.
I have not, but it's it's really freaking hard to know, JT.
Sure, and ultimately, you're getting results. So clearly, they're not completely blocking them. They're not
correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because let's be honest. I'm heavily assuming that they probably limit. They're not going to push out those types of messages as much as they would, my anniversary picture this morning, right?
Yes.
But clearly it's still working. So, okay. All right.
Now, number one, I'm in Rachel Miller's Facebook training, right? Rachel says one of the bad words, one of her banned words is contest. One of the other ones is win. And here I am trying to put in the messages, enter to win, right? There is going to be some of that. There is also going to be the fact that it's coming from a third-party tool, right?
Right. And that was ultimately what what tripped my question
Yes.
was that obviously Facebook is smart enough to know, hey, this is this is not directly coming from my site, right?
Correct.
Anyway, go ahead.
Correct. And it's really hard to understand. And there are campaigns, there are tools and campaigns you can run strictly inside of Facebook, right? You can run an entire contest manually if you want, or other tools inside of Facebook. So therefore, it is more of a Facebook-based thing. But then you're limiting yourself from sharing on Twitter and other places. You can't share on Instagram. Instagram's a whole mess anyway because you can't put links, right? Because I never mentioned Instagram. I mean, that's a very common question. Well, where's the button to share on Instagram? Well, Instagram won't let you do a post with a link back, right? And so manually people have to create because what you want is that link that's inside the sharing widget is unique to me and it's unique to you. And you have to use that specific link to get any of the bonus points. Otherwise, people won't share it, right?
Yeah, you'd have to put that in the bio or your specific post itself. But yeah,
correct. Yeah. And so there are tools where you can run a contest inside of Instagram. People do it all day, every day. But then you're only in the Instagram world. You're not in the other world. Some people do great stuff there. I mean, there is no one universal tool that does them all yet. Whereas most of these tools like Vyper and Gleam, you can at least share them. You're not restricting yourself to one social media tool. So it's
cool.
It's a great question.
No, that covers it. My scarcity fear, which is a bad mindset to have, but my scarcity fear, right, in full transparency was, hey, what if they're limiting or blocking? And then logic kicked in.
Well,
or you wouldn't be in business. So
yes, yes.
Yeah, clearly it works, and you can move on to the next one because clearly it works. That's ultimately the answer.
Let me give you an example. I think this is the right one. And I got to turn on sharing again. Share. Desktop. So this is a campaign I just ran for Fuji where I got 8,600 leads. They were giving away a camera. And inside, upViral keeps track of statistics, right? And what they now have a way of tracking more details. It used to be you could just learn referred versus direct, and you didn't find all this data. But let's look at this Facebook, for example. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to open it in a second window. And in the stats, you can see the social metrics. So the social metrics is how many people shared on Facebook, right? So we're going to specifically look at Facebook, right? So of this campaign, we had 8,600 people enter, 1,500 people shared it on Facebook. So not everybody does, all right? So that's one issue, right? We talked about that before. If I go back to this page and we look specifically at referred people, these are the people that are coming from the social sharing, notice that Facebook says 1,755 people came in. So there were 1,500 shares and 1,700 people came in. So I'm at least getting some metrics that say more people came in from that social share than actually shared it. But guess what? Here's the leads. I only got a 7% conversion rate. So my cold traffic message sucked, basically. If you compare it to some of the other things, like the email got a 40% conversion rate. Granted, not many people did it, but I got a better conversion rate, which goes back to my story at the very beginning 2.5 hours ago, that referred leads convert really well with the right messaging.
That definitely covers it. I mean, you've literally got proof right there that Facebook is serving it, that it works. That's awesome. And hey, somebody's asking for a link to order your course, so drop it in the chat.
So thank you. If you, let me go back to here again. If you go to the resources tab, giveawayrocket.com, It's actually /store, but if you just go to the resources tab, I have the, thank you for asking, Ken, by the way. Was Ken, right? Ken. I have this basics course, which has some more detail than what I've just gone through. And it goes step by step, kind of like we just did, but it goes in more detail. That's $37. It's not too expensive. I was giving that away for free. I'll be frank with you. I was giving it away for free and nobody was taking it. So I'm assuming, I'm hoping that if people actually pay for it, the theory is that they'll actually use it. Here's my affiliate link, by the way, my YouTube channel. If you want to create a campaign and do feedback, I'm doing that for $50. Down, where is it? The Win Together program, which I'm going to do in November, is here. So all of these things are here if you want them on the resources tab. Thank you for asking Ken. I also have this advanced stat spreadsheet. If you're getting into upViral like crazy, so Team DeVries asks the question, will your number spreadsheet work with Viral Loops or Vyper or any of the other tools? It's not set up to work directly with those tools. Let me just, I wasn't really planning to go here, but I love this spreadsheet. So let me just show you, if you're willing to stay. If you have other questions, pop them in. If you want to go, I'm kind of done, but I'm talking about extra bonus stuff. Why is numbers not opening? Where's numbers? There we go. I keep track of a lot of data. This is all of the campaigns that I've done for other people that I keep track of. But I have these advanced spreadsheets. Let me look at this recent one. So what I'm doing is, let me flip back over to upViral. So inside of upViral, when we were looking at the stats, right? If I close this down, this campaign, this is the kind of data that I get. I get total number of visits, total number of leads, opt-in conversion rate. And if I expand it, I can get some additional data, blah, blah, blah. And if you look at the social metrics, you get a little bit of data. And what I have decided, what I have started doing is I want to know things. Let me make this bigger so you can see it. I want to learn some additional data, like the number of people that only have one entry, meaning they didn't do any sharing, right? If they only have one entry, they didn't get any additional points. And so it shows me right here, the percentage of people with only one entry is 76%. That means that I only got 24% of the people to do any sharing, which is this pretty little picture right here. Which means even though the client thinks this is a successful campaign, if I look at direct and referred, I only had 36% of referred leads. I had 64% direct. Now, yes, we got the direct people still have value. Do not get me wrong. Those people are very valuable because they're still new people to the client. But I wanted them to share more, and I wanted more referred leads because that's where I really want focus to happen. I also look at the referred. So anyway, this data, I'm going to show you really fast. If I click on this thing, it comes from two things. I'm still trying to answer your question, Mr. DeFries. I grabbed some data from upViral. I grabbed some more data from the upViral pages that I just showed you. And I do the download of the upViral leads. Now, you guys are seeing some email addresses here, and you're not going to email those people because they're of no value to you. But so I take the data and I count things like points, right? So if a tool like Vyper, and I have not gone into any detail about whether Vyper gives you this kind of detail, but I can go through this spreadsheet and I can see that I can count all the people that only have 1 point, right? Which is what I was showing you over here, the percentage of people with only 1 entry. So I've counted all those things because I can do that function inside of Excel or numbers from this data. And so if I could go get this kind of data from Vyper or Viral Loops or anybody else, then I can calculate this stuff. Now, the sad thing is that you know, and I know, that the tools have that data. All this data is inside there. They could present this kind of results to us. My assumption is that they either A, don't want that information to be seen, or B, think that most people won't look at it. And that's probably really true. Most people are not looking at this data in the kind of way I am. I think I'm the exception to the rule. But I feel like as somebody who wants to run a better campaign next time, if I don't go in and look at some of this data, like, you know, especially this number, for example, the people with only 1 entry, the marketing people, and bless their hearts, they want to sell their tool. They want more people to use them, and therefore they're saying certain things. But they want you to think that a campaign's going to go viral automatically, right? Just by creating the thing with their tool. And we know that doesn't happen. And if you eventually find out that, well, only 24% of the people even took the opportunity to share, then you might go, well, this isn't working. But those people who are smart understand that this data is beneficial, and we know that's what's happening, and we know that if we can look at this data, then we can make a better campaign. Ryan asks, have I asked Wilco? I have talked to Wilco multiple times one-on-one on Zoom, and talked about additional stats. Yes. And I'm sort of hoping that by even creating this and talking about it, that they go, oh, well, maybe we should do that. I have asked them, but they're focused on additional functionality. I don't necessarily want them going and spending time on something that only 5% of the people are going to use as compared to building function XYZ. So it's kind of a toss-up question. And I love these questions, by the way. I love talking about this stuff. Tony, Mitch, do you think that maybe referred leads would increase if the direct leads are nurturing in some way? Just thinking. Well, it is the hardest part, Tony, is to convince Betty Lou that it's more advantageous if she brings Joanne and Paula and all of her friends or shares it socially. It's hard to convince those people to do that instead of saying, oh, if I'm the only one in the contest, then I'm by default going to win. So it's nothing wrong with them. There are plenty of people who do not want to share. But we need to do our best, because we realize, based on all that stuff I shared with you at the beginning, that those referred leads are potentially going to buy more stuff. They're the gold. We want those people because they have brought, there's trust, there's all kinds of things that come through with that. So yes, we want those people to share. What we have to do is find ways. And that's where I spend a lot of time working with people in the Win Together program. That's not the right button. In the Win Together program, to help you build a better campaign. And even by showing you this, right? This is a campaign that I did for a client. You could look at this and go, well, Mitch, you suck. You only got 24% of the people sharing. Why didn't you do better? Well, obviously, I've got some things in this particular. On the flip side, if we go back to the conversation about traditional marketing, And what I believe happens in referral marketing is that maybe only 1 or 2% of the people ever do referrals. Holy camole, 24% sharing is astounding, right? But the upVirals, the Vypers, the viral loops, all those people want you to think that simply using their tool, people are going to go, oh my God, and they're going to break down your door because they want to share. They want to bring all their friends in because it's just by default going to go viral, which isn't what happens. So, so yeah. So again, I don't think you guys can figure out that I really, really love this stuff. I'm so boring and dispassionate. I know it. I have to work really hard to get that to come through. Oh my God, you're right. I'm Dutch and I love the data. So if you want to make it worth my while, I'd be happy to figure out what I can do for Vyper. Right now, this is specifically designed for upViral. And if you go in and look at, you can have this sheet for $37. I also have a new version of my results, which sadly is, that's not the right one. Where is Fuji combined results? This one. I've only done 2 campaigns for them, but what I'm doing is creating these kind of charts to make a visual way of seeing what's working and that's what's not working, or where you should be trying to focus on stuff. And this visual aspect, this is only 2 campaigns. But I believe if you start looking at this kind of stuff, and this other one that I have here, I haven't, I'm sorry, I don't have this one fully converted yet because this is all of my data across multiple campaigns. But I haven't fully converted it to this pretty look. But the intent, there's only 2 campaigns here, is to figure out, based on the data, what's going on. So there's 2 sheets. There's the basic one, which is this one, and then there's the multiple campaigns one. So if you want both, that's $57. And if you want to use this for clients, it's another $97, because I think showing this to your clients is valuable. They get an opportunity. I mean, what I typically do for a client is like these guys, for what I did was I share this data with them, pardon me, and I do a 15-minute video explaining to them what's going on, what we could have done differently in this campaign, or what we should be doing next time if we're going to do another campaign. And I think that's incredibly valuable to walk through with the client to be able to do that. So I am asking for some fees for you to be able to do that. And I think there's a heck of a lot of value in there. If people don't think that, that's fine. They won't buy it. Again, this was something that I was giving away, and I don't think anybody valued it because they were like, oh, that's cool, and didn't do anything with it. So thank you. I think it's reasonable. In fact, realistically, if you were to use this kind of data for a client and really spend time with that client, there are some clients that don't care, but if you're doing this for a client and you're charging them thousands of dollars for the campaign, and you can share with them, hey, we ought to do this next time because the data says that worked or that didn't work, then if it ends up resulting in more leads, they ought to be very, very excited about you spending the amount of time figuring out what's going on and what's working and what's not working. And the only way that you can do that is with data. And again, I showed you earlier I didn't intend this to turn into a big plug for this, but I showed you the stats of being able to see, because because you look down here at the bottom, which I didn't show you before, here's that data that I just showed JT, right, about the outgoing shares was 1,500 and the incoming visits was 1,700. So that's a 1,200, I'm sorry, I can't talk. 112% visit to share ratio. Notice it's highlighted in green because that's like good stuff, good stuff, right? But the conversion rate was only 7 point. I mean, imagine looking at this stuff this way, as opposed to what I just showed you on upViral, because I had to find that data way down here, right, and see blah, blah, blah. That's that data right there. But if you can see it this way, it's a lot more visual. It's a lot easier to understand. And if I look at it like, okay, you remember I talked about the vertical image. Well, here's Pinterest, had 518 shares, but only brought in 28 visits. Why the heck am I even giving them that opportunity, right? Visits to shares ratio of 5.4. Now, maybe, I mean, it did bring in 4 leads. Maybe I shouldn't be poo-pooing that. That's 4 leads I didn't have before. But at least I know, I mean, let's suppose that cost me $100 to go create that. Those 4 leads worth it? Maybe, maybe not. But at least I have a way of evaluating whether that's worth it to me or not. Otherwise, if you only look at the upViral sharing data, like this page, and you go, well, hey, client, I had 1,119 people share on Pinterest. Isn't that number right? There it is. Oh, my data's wrong, isn't it? Uh-oh. See what happens? Dang it. I got the wrong number there. That says WhatsApp. So I've got a problem. Oopsie. Gosh. Look, Mitch is fallible as a human. So Pinterest, all right, so I got to change it. 8% visits to shares. So, but I did get 17 leads. So maybe I should keep doing Pinterest. I don't know what that is. 518. That's LinkedIn. So I got those off by a whatever. Yeah. At least we have an option to see this, and once I fix it. Anyway. All right. Are there any other questions? I have gone on long enough. You guys probably think I'm crazy at this point. I hope this has been valuable to you. 3 hours extra hour. Anybody have any questions before I hang up on y'all? Heck, I don't even know if the recording is still going on. Thank you, Mitch. No question. You'll be the guy I go to when I'm ready. Thank you, JT. You and I need to talk because there's this thing that I'm rubbing down here that you can't see that I need to get rid of. But anyway, here's a whole other topic, and it's not a baby. All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Team DeFry. Ken, you're welcome. JT, you're welcome. Dan, Tom, Ryan, Ken, thank you for tuning in. Tony, thank you for asking great questions. Everybody, Dan, appreciate you. David, you've been quiet. Igor, you've been quiet. Shame on you. Just kidding. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have anything that you're interested in purchasing, you know where to go, hopefully. I'm going to do this again because I believe that it is helpful. Not sure when. And I will talk less. Let me know if you guys have any questions or problems or anything else. I'm going to just stop. We'll tune in again. Thank you. We will here. I'll send you out with my favorite, my daughter Maddie.
I had a fun time. Now turn that off.